What's good, everybody? This is Y and Z, a conversation between the generations. Which two might you ask? If this is your first time, well, Generation Y, myself, the millennial, one of the greatest
All
generations to
righty,
ever
all
grace the
righty, all
face.
right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the
Cut
name is
that
Jay
short.
Clark. Another part, Gen Z. Yeah, they a little salty sometimes. My brother
Yes,
Fabian
sir.
Lewis, like, share, subscribe, hit that little ding bell thing. You know all that good YouTube stuff. Thank you for joining us for this conversation. Let's check in, brother. How are you doing this week?
Man, I'm trying to come into this week with a little more, positivity. Uh, cause number 45. I'm sorry, 45, 47. Boy, he got in there and he did exactly what he said he was gonna do. But started out, I'm a little sore today, man. Started working back out yesterday, so ramping up to that. Yes, sir. Oh, 2025, the year I get sexy. Thank you. Just call me Michael B. Jordan. Better yet, call me Dwayne Johnson. That's all I need. Thank you. Um,
You not tall enough for that.
that's not the point. That's not the point. Let me tell y'all something Clark said to me when he first met me. He was like, "Oh, you're not as short as I thought."
Some people just give off little man energy.
He walked up to me and he was like, "Yo, Xavier, you're taller than I thought." Like what?
It happens. It happens. I'm with you there, brother. Before we get into what we're gonna get into today, not focusing on that, but just in general, because yeah, a lot of adulting this month so far on top of all that stuff, and it's
Oh,
it's
definitely.
it's a lot going on. So it's a weird dynamic. It feels like
Yeah.
this place because it's one, what you're gonna hear a lot from people is protect your peace. Which I get, I understand, and I have my methods for that too. But at the same time, we just can't disconnect
Right. You can't.
completely. And I like my wife, she can't handle like any of that stuff. Like me, like I feel like I'm disassociated enough because partly is like my background was in journalism. That's what my degree is. So I've studied this. So part of me to me is also while seeing this go on, it's like, okay, also the art of what is going on here, how it's being done. I can disassociate from it a little bit, but even at the end of the day, I still have my limits as well. And so it's this balance of protecting peace, but also like being
I
aware of
can't neglect it. Yeah,
right.
I can't neglect it. It's
So
interesting.
how,
I
how are you
mean,
how are you handling that space if you even are? Or are you just like
nah, man. I'm what I'm learning to do in this. Like, I'd like to keep myself updated, but just to a limit. Only, like you said, I think protect your peace can become detrimental at a certain point if you become negligent of everything that's going on.
Hmm.
I think we do need to be informed and stay informed with what's happening, because at some point, while what is happening may not directly seem to affect us yet, we have quickly come to find out the long term is quickly becoming the short term. So I think we just definitely have to get in that mindset of it. If you just stay informed, it doesn't have to be 24 hours a week of you reading this kind of stuff. But then on the other half, don't just read the headlines either. At least do a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because if you just read the headlines, like you said, the art of journalism is like, okay, we know that, some of this stuff that while it may be the headlines, that's just good for ratings and views. So
There's a difference between your local NBC nightly broadcast and MSNBC. There is a
correct, correct.
but anyways, we're not gonna
That
sit
makes a
on that
difference.
too long because just to check and we gonna get into
Oh,
hopefully
hold on. Before we go to what we going to today,
uh-huh.
who you got for your Super Bowl pick, bruh? Who you got? I know you know. I know you can't choose the Cowboys.
I'm in a difficult place with this because on one hand, I have a hated division rival who I will never root for in any circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, it's a team I don't care about, but the problem is there are a lot who in different ways and forms or fashion people of that team associated with a certain movement who I also do not fuck with. I wish they both could lose. But keeping it sports focused,
Sports focused.
I'm going with my man Mahomes, the Jordan of NFL right now. Like
You going for the three-peat.
I'm going for the three peat. Just like sports focus. I can't root for no damn Philadelphia Eagles. Fuck the Eagles. Okay, I've seen them too many times in the Super Bowl this era. Fuck the Eagles. So as a sports fan, no, especially as a Cowboys fan, yeah, fuck the Eagles all day, every day. Yeah, sorry, that's the most unfriendly childish segment we will ever have here. So yeah, I'm going with Mahomes, but I'm really trying to check out the halftime show. What about you, brother? We got a week and a half for that anyway. But what about
Yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah.
We early.
Early predictions. Yeah, I definitely got Kansas City. I think I am a little bit sad that the Bills still took out the Ravens. I'm very bitter about that. Um, but it was just so good for me to see Kansas City beat the Bills because, like I said, I was a little bitter about that. Um, but that would have been a really great game between Kansas City and the Ravens. That's a Super Bowl game in itself. But Chiefs and the Eagles, I definitely think it's going to be the Chiefs. I think they just wanted to set it up to where they had a truly formidable opponent this year. Not saying that the other 2 years they didn't have formidable opponents, but the Eagles are kind of untouchable. Well, I ain't gonna say untouchable, but they're a force to be reckoned with this year. Jalen Hurts has been doing his thing, so I think it's just gonna be a really really good game. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout or anything like that. So that's how I feel about that.
More
It's
Super
gonna be
Bowl
the
talk
Chiefs.
next. More Super Bowl talk next week. This is the Pro Bowl week. Don't nobody care. Um, as we enter February,
Here we go.
traditionally known as Black History Month, and certainly
That could change over the next 4 years.
this this gonna be an interesting one to see what happens. Because the man has started off fast. But putting all that aside, I wanted to talk with you this week and just ask you because we all know some of the we know the history. We know the history. But I just
Right.
want to ask, like, what's your favorite thing about just in general Black history? I don't know where you're gonna take this, but the question
Man,
proposed to you today is, what's your favorite thing or something that's really just like makes you feel good and warm inside in regards to Black history?
Man, of course, I think when everybody first thinks Black history, they think civil rights movement. That's the first thing that comes to their head is the 1950s or the 60s or whatever like that. You think Black History Month, you think Martin Luther King Jr., you
It's
think
either that or
Rosa
slavery.
Parks.
Either that or slavery. It's one of the two.
Yeah, either those two.
Unfortunately.
But I will say, I think like the first thing that comes to my mind when I think Black History Month is literally how a people stripped another people of their identity. And yet and still those people persevered and created a new identity that was so strong. Because I think when I think Black History Month, my favorite thing about just Black history was our ability to come to a new place, had nothing to do with it for the most part. And we're just like, oh yeah, okay, while they make me call myself a new name, I don't know how to trace myself back to where we were before. We're gonna create a new identity, and it's always this mindset that Black history is one of creation. It's not one of just we're gonna take what everybody else give us and we're gonna have it at that. Nah, I was just having a conversation with my girlfriend last night, and I
Mhm.
was just telling her about, I was just talking to her. I don't know why we were talking about this, but we were talking about the topic of segregation versus integration. And
Nice.
I was like, I don't know. I I'm almost on the side of segregation if
We'll
it's equal.
save that for another. That's a total, but very relevant. We'll get into that a little later.
We
That's
gonna have to touch that in February. But yeah, I think. But if I'm looking at like one specific event, and aside from just the overlapping thing of Black History Month, I think one specific event is definitely. Let's see. Uh, I mean, I know it's not good, but it's Black History, and I feel like this is when I started to take Black History seriously when Trayvon Martin died, and I'm gonna tell you why. Was not too far removed from the age I was.
yeah, yeah. You're
And this was
close.
the yeah,
Yeah,
this was the time in my life where I was like, oh, I'm like reading Black History. I know Black History and all that kind of stuff, but I'm like, oh, that was years ago. Trayvon Martin's death kind of brought it home to me and realized that, oh, never mind. The history book's not done writing itself.
I'm gonna pick up from your beginning part because we're trying to stay positive right now. We're trying to
Yeah,
stay
yeah,
positive in this episode. I like how you put it because the whole Black history is world history,
yeah. Real.
and specifically that population of like, and the way you put it, this contingent of people who were stripped of everything create their own thing, and it's not just that they create their own thing. This group of just under 400,000 individuals. Let's that is the amount of people who were brought here.
Right, right,
So 400,000 individuals over the
right.
course
That
of
made it across the
the
journey.
Atlantic
Right.
slave trade developed a culture that has gone global and has impacted everything in a way that no other person or
No.
group can talk about.
And
Like
let's just
that,
and we're just talking about Black Americans. We're not even including the ones that got sent down to the islands,
yeah,
the
yeah, no,
Caribbean, all
yeah,
that. This is
just
just
this
Black
this
Americans.
black and then for me that's what I take pride in being African American
Yeah.
because yes, I am the descendant. We are the descendants of these 400, just under 400,000 individuals who have impacted the world in a way that nobody else has.
No.
And one of the ways that like it really hit me when I was overseas. I'm in another continent,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
it's like you're just like because here it's you we're so close to it. You see all the things because that's American culture too.
Right, right.
But when you go outside and you see the impact that people don't necessarily realize, like something as simple as I'm driving overseas and you got the stoplight.
Right there, bruh.
Garrett Morgan, the stoplight, a global invention. E- Everybody uses the stoplight now.
Yeah.
Something as simple as that, which to them they don't even put to it because it's just an invention. It's a thing, but nah. Like they have tried to erase us from the stories and lower that impact to make us feel worse about it. It's nah. Every piece of impact that comes out of America, there's
It's
a black
global.
person associated 99% of the time.
Almost definitely.
And that's what they don't want you to know. And it's everything from like the culture, the clothes, the music,
There is
like
no American
everything.
culture without African Americans.
There's no global aspects of culture without African Americans.
We're needle movers. This is the thing. This is the African American culture. We created the needle. We move the needle. We sustain the needle. And when
Uh-huh.
the needle dies out, we create a better one. We're African Americans. We do this.
Sometimes we not even waiting for that needle to die out. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, this better. Let's go here.
Right. That's what we do. We're not just the supplier, we're also the buyer. Like we can sustain ourselves within ourselves in this consistent cycle.
Yeah, and so for me, that's really what I take a lot of pride in. Like when you talk Black history, like as a high level view, and like I said, that really sunk in for me, being able to get outside and see globes like wow,
Yeah.
the impact that this group had. Like yeah, not it's not just this time period. It's not just limited to no. It's ongoing. It's growing, and
I
they
didn't even
hate
think
us.
about
They
it.
hate us for that. They hate us for that.
Very much so.
They
It's
hate us.
like because, and we know that they're always attempting to whitewash it. You know what I'm saying? They're always attempting to, like you just said, take our credibility away. Because before no one was necessarily thinking about, oh, hold up, let me make sure I get this in writing that this was me who did this. We were just doing because that's another thing I'm very proud about being an African American about. Contrary to popular belief, we are just people who care about our society. We are people who actually care about what's going on around us and things that affect, it takes what is it? It takes a village. We care about our village. And so whatever we can do to make sure that village is sustained, we weren't necessarily worried about, oh, let me make sure I get credit for doing this, or let me make sure I get credit for doing that. We were just trying to make sure that we were going to be sustained in our village.
We just doing what we do, and we wish people would leave us the fuck alone. But alas, uh, So I mean, it's just like just take music for example.
Oh, we can go all
Blues,
day with music.
blues, jazz, rock and
Gospel.
gospel, country,
While we cannot take
country.
credit for Christian, like just like Christian music, gospel
Go-
music,
That gospel,
that's black.
that's black. Like let's put it this way: there's only one white genre of music. That's folk.
Oh,
Y'all can have that. Disco, that's ours. Singing with passion,
that's us.
that's us. The way
Like,
we played instruments, that's us.
come on, man.
And it's interesting now because now you're really seeing other I don't want to call it other nationalities, other regions. They are now taking the blueprints that we have and putting their own stamp on it. Afro beats, K-pop, what we see coming out of Latin America.
Yeah,
And while I'm not trying to say that's all us, no, no, no. But what it is they are taking a foundation of what we have done
it's
and mixing
influenced
it
by
with their
us.
own influences and cultures.
Yeah,
And what we need to do is we need to get back to finding out what's next. We
right,
need to
right.
create the
We
next
can't
thing
be
because we have
so caught up. Right, we can't be so caught up in, oh, this was our impact of yesterday.
like
That should
that's
be
where hip
enough
hop
to
is right now.
sustain us.
That's where hip hop is right now. Hip hop
Right.
was the last new genre created, and that was 50 years ago.
This is
What y'all,
real.
what y'all waiting for, Gen Z? Come on, do something. Do something.
It's all right. Just give us. We thawing out.
Oh, no,
We
y'all
just
not
got out of high school a couple years ago.
y'all not gonna be the young ones no more. Gen Alpha is right behind you. Your window
Well,
is limited.
very limited. Very
Y'all
limited.
getting up there. Gen Alpha gonna be the ones.
Swinging through. Let them swing.
But yeah, it's like
Man, but it's so interesting. I mean, we could even talk. So that's music. We could even talk about like cooking. The ability,
everything. Every
the ability to take scraps and make a meal.
Just look at the price of oxtails now. Hell, even going to store smoked turkey necks used to be cheap. They ain't
Do you
cheap
see
no
what I'm
more.
saying?
Like, cause other folk is catching on to like hell, think of the national pastime, macaroni and cheese.
That's us. That's us.
Fried chicken.
Oh, that's us.
Like, we're not even going to depths here. When you're talking the top things that people like to eat all the time. How many fried chicken spots are there out there? Yeah, you know?
How many barbecue joints are all over this country in a place where barbecue was not even a thing? You up in there having ribs slathered. Who you think did that first?
That brisket. They,
Oh,
they ain't know how to cook it.
with that bark on it.
We can tenderize that up. We know how to make this happen. Oh, you don't want these cuts? Or that's all that we got? Yeah, we gonna make something good out of it. And it's one of those things like yes, we have taken the bottom of the barrel and made magic.
With the
Oh,
bottom of the barrel. That's black magic.
that's black
Taking
magic.
the bottom, the scraps, and making it into this I want to say miraculous. It's miraculous. I don't care. A miraculous thing.
Imagine if we had quality.
This, all right, here we go. This was the argument that was being made in whole from Black Americans. We're still producing doctors, lawyers, physicians, mayors, all of these things, people who can sustain society, and they had 20-year-old books. What do you think we could do if we had updated ones? They just wanted equality. We didn't want to come in your schools. We just wanted our schools to at least have the modern century air conditioning systems. We
Cook,
didn't want
mother,
to move
cook.
into your neighborhoods. We didn't want to move into your neighborhoods. We just wanted our neighborhoods to have enough electricity to cover the whole neighborhood. More power lines, better water systems. This is what we wanted. But yet and
Cook.
still, say it again.
I said, cook, cook on, young bud, cook.
I'm just saying, we didn't want to do, move into these spots. We didn't want to come to your grocery stores. We wanted our own. We didn't want that. We didn't want that. Here we go. We didn't want to come in your banks, but you closed down ours. We had our own Wall Street, but you blew that up. We had what we needed to sustain ourselves, but we wanted to do more than sustain. We wanted to thrive. And for us to thrive, all we needed was what you were getting to.
No, 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 no. See, that's. I think that's a false illusion
Mm,
because I think part of it is they see what we've done with scraps and less. They scared of what we would do with equal footing
almost definitely.
because you outshine in almost every way, shape, or form
With
with
scraps.
scraps and less. Imagine just how far we could push it, raise the ceiling, raise the standard with the same equal access and opportunities.
Right.
That's what's got them scared. It's not.
And scared to this day. We just seen we signed in the order last week, taking away DEI.
They mad because they ain't us. They ain't got the same flavor. They ain't got the same style. They ain't got the same swag. Hell, they ain't got the same creativity. And I'm sorry if
No.
this is coming off as pretty generalization, but hell, we are entering into Black History Month. Allow us to brag and boast a little bit. We gonna be confident.
Yeah.
Cause yes, we've played the game on the same level with less. And you're scared of what we
Exactly.
could do if we had the same materials. We're the MacGyvers out here.
Yeah.
We doing things with a piece of bubble gum, some tape,
What
and
we
a
call it? What we
toothpick.
call it? We had the nigga rig
You know
it.
that they've got all the instructions, the right pieces, the right fit, and all the time in the world, and they still can't create nothing as nice as what we doing with scraps.
Scraps, bro. They it's like, okay, let's just say in a hometown or whatever, you had your white school, you had your black school. And in these towns, they would have that one, white school versus the black school. Black school, outdated uniforms, equipment going bad,
Substandard, worn out, bad.
everything. But yet and still go out on the field and whoop y'all.
Whoop that ass. Whoop that ass.
Do you hear what I'm saying? Every single time.
Yeah, like it's this just popped in my head because unfortunately we had that shooting in I think it was Nashville the other week,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And very rarely it was somebody black because we all know we
What?
don't do that. And one of the primary reasons he did so, or one of the things that was mentioned, was because he was ashamed. Please, if you out there ashamed to be black, especially if you're young, don't
Yeah.
be.
Don't please.
Don't believe that. Don't believe that bullshit. Get into your history.
Yeah.
They want you to feel ashamed because they're trying to pass that on to you because of what has happened before and what you're capable of and how you have truly driven the world in history. You ain't even gotta go slavery on it.
No.
Like you history, not like mathematics.
Right.
Mathematics. The Moors.
Affected by black people.
Hygiene. We know some folk don't like to wash their ass now. Still to this day. Hell, the bubonic plague was because them folk was nasty.
Let's look at this. All of these new trends and all that kind of stuff with like natural medicines and stuff like that. We've been doing that for years.
Hell,
We just called it a hottie toddy
you want to bring it contemporary social media. Black Twitter is a thing for a reason.
for a reason.
So like it's one of those things, and like I said, because we talked about some of our backgrounds last week. Like I went to predominantly white schools up until college. I understand how we get looked over. That sense of pride, opportunity, and space isn't there. I can understand how somebody in them circumstances is like, oh yeah, black, yeah,
Right.
I'm not proud of this. I'm not because you're not getting.
You're not getting that because it's not anyone else's job to instill pride into the other people, but it's just our job to make sure you at least have the knowledge. And this is the current question: what happens when you stop instilling the correct knowledge? You take away a sense of pride in what we all know to be true.
Like
It's
hell, you have people from backgrounds of different nations who speaking different tongues and dialects come together to figure out how to communicate under circumstances where they don't want you to. We put together systems to escape the slavery. We put in
right.
systems to thrive under Jim Crow laws.
I don't think because we history now it tends to take a Disney effect as far as like kind of making everything nicer than what it was. But like, because growing up, I just didn't really understand the extent of what they were talking about. Oh, the
And that was
underground railroad, all that
purposed.
kind of.
That was
But that
purposed.
was
That was
that
purposed.
purpose thought out. Come on, man, you telling me it's men out here on horses, you on foot, dogs out here got your scent, but you know how to throw that scent off too.
I remember one of the first times, and this was as an adult for the most part, that I truly appreciated the Underground Railroad and that whole system. I used to valet drive back in college, or so
Yeah, yeah.
the company, people at their private houses would hire us and whatnot. And so I remember this
That's a
one
smart
party.
job to have in college. I never thought about that.
I
But
was,
keep
it
going.
was great. You got test drive, like,
I'm
oh, okay,
saying.
that's a nice car, or I can see, it's good, and it was some good money. Um, it was a private party out in Maryland on the Eastern Shore, so a nice, beautiful house. And we're talking, it ain't right off the highway or nothing. So I remember driving out there, and we get off the driveway, we start hitting some back roads,
Yeah.
and it's dark, pitch black, dark, and I'm just like, my God, I don't know how I would navigate in this. And a lot of people, and when you think about it, Harriet, this, and because it's in my mind, like this is these spaces that Harriet Tubman was operating in. No, no, she wasn't operating in no far place in Georgia that I've never seen before. No, no, no. Harriet Tubman was operating in Maryland on
Yeah.
the Eastern Shore. And so it's in my, I'm just driving like, yo, damn, this dark. It's wooded. And you just gain a new appreciation, like thing, like yeah, these were the spaces she was navigating. Like hell, I remember driving home sometimes, and you cross the line. The
Wow.
Mason-Dixon line is right there in Pennsylvania, and literally, like there are certain highways. It's like, yep, you are now crossing the Mason-Dixon line. This is one of the things, like yeah,
Bruh, it's just like it's I'm not gonna say it's appalling, but it just makes you think and be like, wow, here
and
we
as a,
are,
Mhm.
here we are like in the 21st century with what we have, still trying to figure out ways to survive. But them back then had far less than what we had.
it's what
And
gives
they found
confidence for
ways.
now. It's what gives like because it's I don't want to focus on what they did.
Right, right,
The pride isn't what necessarily what they did. It's the circumstances that we thrived under. And I know sometimes we have this image that it's not necessarily viewed as thriving, but
right.
understanding the circumstances, no, no, no. They literally tried to destroy us. And we have rebelled throughout history by thriving and continuing to move forward. And that's with some on the inside who would sell us out in, Uncle Tom.
Right, right,
We still got
right.
them who want to play for the other side. Nah, nah, nah. I got pride.
And I think this is something that we definitely have to instill back because, like we said, we don't know what the next four are going to look like. But we do know this no matter what has happened, we thrived. No
We
matter,
gonna find a way. It's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get ugly. Like, please prepare. It's gonna get ugly. And this is for all those who are like, I'm not my ancestors. You about to find out how much you are or aren't like them.
You better find some
Yeah,
perseverance or
I
something.
guarantee they've got a strength and spirit of perseverance and did more with less than we will ever have. But we got to find a way to tap into that to go forward and do more because I don't need to necessarily find out if I am as strong as them, but I have the belief there that I gotta tap it. It's there.
Yeah. Right.
I
I
don't
don't
want to
need to
have
find
to.
out if I could be out on the plantation picking. I don't need to find that out. I
Don't
don't
need
need
to
to
find
find
that
that out.
out. But we gonna, you know,
We about to find something out.
the trials of our grandparents, great grandparents, like it. Got to tap in because we got more
It-
force and strength now than ever. But but bringing it back to, like I said, we're going to talk about that later on another day because that whole segregation integration thing is an interesting thing that gets been argued about throughout history and has been played out since the days of Brown versus Board of Ed and before
uh-huh.
Niagara movement and Du Bois and Carter and all. Like it's oh,
A very interesting conversation.
but yeah, nah. As we enter Black History Month and not knowing what is coming up, yeah, I got pride all day, and it's fun and it's funny because just for example, fuck Philadelphia Eagles, right? But I got on here a Negro Leagues jersey. So, Philadelphia Negro Leagues jersey.
Yeah.
Because
Wow.
that's what it's about. That, yeah, we had our own league. And as we saw just last year, they started incorporating them numbers from that league, and the top
Exactly.
rankings had to change
Changing the record books.
because the impact was there. Like there are so many stories that have been told and so many that haven't been told. And we are at a point where, because just this week was Holocaust Remembrance Day.
Hmm.
It was the 80th anniversary of when Auschwitz was liberated. You still have a couple of survivors left from that who, still tell the stories that, to
Yeah.
make sure that goes on. While there aren't many, we still have some from back in those days who are still walking this earth to this day.
Yep.
We're
Yep.
not that far removed. Like it's yeah, it's 100 years ago. It's 80 years ago. Sure. But you still got folks who lived through Tulsa living today. You still got folks who lived through segregation living today.
Today.
You got folks who experienced these community lynchings living today. Like we are our ancestors' wildest dreams.
Every single time.
Mhm.
I
And
mean, I don't think people understand. The KKK is still around.
hell, they having a rally this weekend. I saw a flyer for one out in Indiana or somewhere. They feeling real emboldened now. So
You see
this
what I'm
ain't
saying?
new.
It's no. I grew up in a town with a KKK, man. All the stuff you see in the history books, my hometown, happening.
And I think that's one thing that's interesting because I know I think as a millennial, when we were growing up, it was kind of this spirit of we're making progress. There is hope. And here we are 30 years later from that time period, the
Yeah.
90s, where it was like, oh, and it's like, we're, we were being sold some dreams, or that hopium was being sold heavily back then, and I think folks forgot the South is trying to rise again.
Oh, definitely. And I think the South is not, while it is a monster to be tamed, I think the greater monster is just the general consensus of other racial groups now coming against us.
Oh, that's another conversation because
We
what I
saw in this last election.
well not even the election. What I've learned another thing globally is that yeah, everybody is happy not to be African American.
Yep. Yep. It's let me okay, let's hush.
And that's including some of our African brothers and sisters. No shame, but it is true. It is
Very
true.
true.
We can get into that
Very
a little
true.
deeper. And like I said, this is coming from somebody who has lived
Been there.
overseas and has gotten that experience. But at the end of the day, as we begin to wrap up here, as we enter Black History Month, it's all pride, and I don't
Definitely.
give a damn as much as you try to pull me down, stomp me. Like nah, there is pride and confidence here that throughout my journey I have learned to hold dear and tight, and that is one thing I want to pass along, especially like some of your generation, because we know there's your generation has a lot of feelings, and your generation is more mixed up than I am. And I don't mean that in a bad way because that's
Yeah,
just how
yeah.
the world is going. So we have those who are like, nah, we see them. Oh, I'm not black.
Yeah.
You sure about that? Tap into that pride because it's powerful. It's
It is.
powerful.
It is.
It's powerful. It'll give you that spirit of the ancestors that we
Yeah.
gonna need to deal with these next four.
We're gonna need it. We're
But
gonna
I
need
think
it.
that's a good note to get out on. It's Y and Z conversation between the generations. Like, share, subscribe. You got some pride, share it below. What's one of your favorite things about Black history? That is the question.
Yeah.
It could be an event. It could be a specific moment. Because
It could be a
it
person.
could be a person. Because I one of my favorites is because one of my favorite movies is Glory. I love stories like that. Like
Really.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But yes, share yours below. Like, share, subscribe. Keep some pride with you. Um, gonna be an interesting month.
Here we go, February. Come in acting like you got some sense.
We started early. We're gonna steal a couple days from January.
Oh yeah.
We're not getting shortchanged this year. Cause yeah, we don't know what's gonna happen. But, stay strong out there, my brother.
All right, man. Have a great day, bro.
Peace out.
Peace.